making sure we good. Cool. All right, don't worry, y'all. We will be starting here in a little bit. Just as a reminder, if you're over on the TikTok side, please come over to the purple app or the red app. Makes it a lot easier for everybody. TikTok, TikTok don't want to give me all the tools because I'm streaming on multiple apps and whatnot. So. Yo, what up, Dash? I see you. Gonna be starting in about 2 minutes. Episode 1 of the new and improved This Week in Gaming. Dash, this audio sound all right? Cool. That's what I like to hear, man. We'll be starting real soon. Just trying to make sure everything's good over here on the TikTok side. For some reason, whenever you're multi-streaming, they like to make things a little bit more difficult. So I'm just trying to make sure we're all good over there. Got. Na, na. Tweak my goal. Cool. Looks good, man. All right, we might get started here in just a second. Marathon. We will be covering Marathon today. I did hear about Marathon. TikTok, that is well water, and that right there is apple flavored soda. Neither one of those are the beverages we're not allowed to consume on you. If you're watching on TikTok, I see you one viewer over there. I would recommend either going to the red app or the purple app because TikTok is making me use my laptop camera, which is over there, and they're not letting you see the layout. We're going to be covering all the gaming news that happened this week, and it'd be a lot better if you could watch it over there because then you can see it on my screen. Watch_Banks over on the purple app too. So. And we got about 30 seconds before we start, y'all. So if you ain't get your snacks or a little bit of water or something, I'd recommend going and getting it right now. We got Echo Dash over there on Twitch, says the audio is crisp and amazing. I would assume the same is true for YouTube. This is the new and improved edition of This Week in Gaming. It used to be a video. Now we're live streaming it because who doesn't want shit live stream nowadays? You know what I mean? I feel like it'd be better for everybody. All right. All right, it's about that time. What's up, ladies, gentlemen, and MBs, and welcome to This Week in Gaming, your weekly gaming news show where we cover everything that happened this week in gaming. I'm your host, Watch Banks, and we're going to be doing this every Monday at around 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. I know we're starting a little bit late today. I had some technical difficulties, but yeah, that's basically what it is. This Week in Gaming. We're going to cover all the gaming news that happened Monday to Monday. Today's Monday. We're going to go all the way back to last Monday and then all the way forward to this Monday. Monday to Monday, okay? So without further ado, let's get back over here and go take a look at our very first news story. Now, this is everything that happened within the last week of gaming. Yep. And then you can just pull the stream, cut the video up, and upload it later. That's a good idea, Echo Dash. So it looks like, first story, Ori developer Moon Studios head warns it may have to shut down following review bombing. So this is the very new studio, Moon Studios, the same people that, or the new studio from the people that developed Ori, saying that they might have to shut down due to review bombing. Players who enjoyed No Rest for the Wicked are being encouraged to leave positive reviews. And it reads like this. The co-founder and CEO of the studio behind the Ori game says it may have to close down due to its latest game being review bombed. Moon Studios released action RPG No Rest for the Wicked in early access in April 2024 and currently has a mostly positive rating on Steam with 74% and nearly 35,000 user reviews marked as positive. Despite this, Moon Studios CEO Thomas Mahler took to Discord to tell players that the game has been review bombed and putting the company's future at risk. Just be better people, bro. Why are y'all review bombing a game because it's not an Ori game? Mahler told fans No Rest for the Wicked that if they haven't left a positive review for the game yet, they should because the studio's business is dependent on it. There's a quote. I think people think I'm joking when I'm asking for positive reviews because in people's minds, there's always some big publisher in the background who will cover costs. Doesn't say why they're review bombing though. Mahler's request appears to have been acknowledged by some because the game has received numerous positive reviews in the last day or two, though there are also a handful of negative reviews stating that they've been written purely because the developer asked for positive ones. Like, what's the point? Like, bro comes out, says they're basically review bombing this game, which I would assume is for no reason other than what? Because it's not a traditional Ori game. So then he asks you to please leave a positive review, and then some people go and leave a negative review just because he asked for a positive review. In which, in his quote, he states that it's because I see you, JNick23. Thanks for popping up on TikTok. If you guys are watching on TikTok right now, let me just let y'all know, if y'all go over to the purple app or the red app, it's a lot better experience. I got the actual news feed up on screen and everything. TikTok's not letting me do it for some reason, but if you want to stay on TikTok and you just like the sound of my voice, that's fine too. So then, bro asked you to leave a positive review because their game is basically getting review bombed and you leave a negative one just because he's asking for it. Because they're backed by Microsoft and you think that if the game does bad, they'll be covered. Microsoft literally just got done shutting down or laying off a whole bunch of people even after they spent $69 billion to buy Activision Blizzard. Early access. We'll continue on with the story. The early access release for No Rest of the Wicked, Moon's third game after Ori and the Blind Forest and The Will of the Wisp, was published by Private Division. Blah 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 blah. It doesn't say why No Rest for the Wicked is getting review bombed though. But with that being the case, he's literally asking if you had a good time with the game, just please leave a positive review. I never understood why people were such big fucking review bombers anyway. Like what is it's the same type of energy as someone who goes and tells somebody that you clocked out 15 minutes early and you weren't gonna tell nobody. That's the same kind of work snitch energy that I'll never truly understand. Echo Dash in the Twitch chat says, yeah, it's because they're an indie developer now. Oh, so largely the money they get is from and directly tied to the reviews they get on Steam. Exactly. So these people made some of probably the best artistic indie feeling games when they were behind Microsoft. You think it was gonna get like there's still the same pedigree. Like this team is still together. And you guys choose to review bomb the game because they're not making the same game, because they're an indie developer now, which I'm assuming means that they don't have the same, they don't own the IP to Ori, so they're not making it. If anybody can find that out, let me know. Or if it pops up later on in the stream, we'll cover it. But that's some bullshit, man. Like I'll never understand review bombers for people who really, it's not like, it wouldn't make it better, but it's not like it's an EA game where these people are selling their souls for this stuff. All right, our next story. Tony Hawk will campaign all he can for a remaster of Tony Hawk's Underground. Now, this is following Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 reveal. I see you, Chief Gant 420 in the TikTok. I see you, KM, in the TikTok. I got a video that details it. A good legendary drops video. If that's the case, then what's that on, Echo Dash? That's on your YouTube? Continuing on with the story. Tony Hawk said that he will campaign all he can for a remake of the Tony Hawk's Underground series. Tony Hawk's Underground was a fifth game in the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater lineage, taking the series in a new direction with a story-focused campaign and more cutscenes. That's for damn sure. Tony Hawk Underground was actually my very first Tony Hawk game. And then I retroactively went to Pro Skater 1 and 2, and then I retroactively went to 3 and 4. 3 and 4 was a little bit less fun than 1 and 2, but at the end of the day, they were all those arcadey games where Thug came in. Thug was actually set in Hawaii, I believe, and it was literally exactly like the story's saying. It took that same kind of arcadey skateboarding. Says TikTok disconnected. Are we good over there on TikTok? It took that same kind of arcadey skateboarding, but it gave you like a story mode, and it gave like you could hop off your board, you could smash your board. I remember that. Where I played it on PSP a lot. I know the best version of that game was PS2 and GameCube, but and apparently Tony Hawk was not only beating the drum for 3 and 4 remake to come out after 1 and 2 remake did so well, because remember that was developed by one of the Activision studios. It will probably say later on in this article, but after 1 and 2, that's when Microsoft bought them. So they thought that 3 and 4 would get scrapped. 3 and 4 is coming out within, I think, the next couple months. And so Tony Hawk's still beating that drum, like, let's get them all out. We did 1 and 2. We're doing 3 and 4. Let's get Underground going. Continue reading. Let's see. Yeah, Tony Hawk's Underground was the fifth game in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater lineage, taking the series in a new direction with a story-focused campaign and more cutscenes. The game is a fan favorite for its take on skateboarding culture and its move away from the arcade-style goals of the earlier game. Since its release in 2003, fans have long requested a remake or a remaster of the game, calls which have since increased following the announcement of 3 and 4, due to be released this July. Speaking at a preview event for the upcoming game, Tony Hawk was asked about the potential for remakes of this game beyond the original 4 Tony Hawk's Pro Skater games. I always have inspirations, Hawk told Screen Rant. It's not up to me. Generally, I'll campaign all I can, but I'm working with a much bigger company that's a lot smarter than me. Hawk went on to say that Underground Remastered hasn't been discussed internally, and the success of Pro Skater 3 and 4 could be a deciding factor in bringing back future games. Tony Hawk's Underground 2, released in 2004. This is all exposition. But Tony Hawk's calling for Tony Hawk Underground. I completely support it. If you're going to remaster 1 and 2, and it's going to be so successful that it forces you to remaster 3 and 4, why not remaster Underground? I mean, that was, I would assume, from the kids in my generation, which are the kids who actually played it, one of the best Tony Hawk's games. So fuck it. Fallout TV star says his character. Next story. Fallout TV star says his character's plot has been planned up to last season 5 or 6. I'll give you the Cliff Notes version of that. The guy who played Maxis, the guy in the power armor from the Fallout TV series, he basically went on an interview and said that his character was planned to die in season 5 or 6. The reason it's a big story is because that basically says that internally they plan on making it to season 5 or 6. So that's good. Meaning that's good. Following the announcement of season 2, at the whatever award show they announced it at the other day, and the announcement from Amazon said that they already greenlit season 3 because they watched season 2 and season 2 was so good. All right, next story. New episodes of Pokemon Horizons are available now in English for the first time. If you care, I don't. Again, I see you KM in TikTok. I see you K3 over on TikTok. If you guys want to move over to the purple app or the red app, it's a much better experience. I got the news stories on the screen. I got a better camera angle than that shit right there that TikTok is forcing me to use. But if you like my voice, you want to stay on TikTok, that's perfectly fine. You can follow me here because TikTok basically said I just got to do this live and then they'll let me use my OBS setup. So next week, Monday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. It'll be a lot better experience for the TikTok watchers. Next story. Nintendo posts video showing Switch 2 mouse controls working on the home screen. Do we need to see it? Do we need to go into it? I mean, it sounds pretty explanatory. You would just be able to use your mouse to select your games, chat, online, e-store. Seems pretty self-explanatory. Next story. Final Fantasy VII Remake director can't share why Sephiroth looks different in new trading card, sparking Part 3 speculation. Oh, that sounds fun. So if you don't know, Final Fantasy VII just got a Magic the Gathering collaboration, and apparently Sephiroth looks different on that Magic card. Again, if you're on TikTok and I can't pull up my OBS feed until next live. So if you want to see the Sephiroth art design, either follow me and I'll post the Cliff Notes video of this stream later on, or you can go over to the purple app or the red app real quick and you can see that it looks different than the character design, and apparently fans are sparking their own conspiracy theories of why, based off the third game coming. I'll go ahead and read it. Fuck it, I did all that conjecture. I might as well. Final Fantasy VII Remake creator, director. The hell is that? Final Fantasy VII Remake creative director Tetsuya Nomura has said he can't share why Sephiroth looks different on an upcoming Magic the Gathering card. The collaboration will focus on Final Fantasy, bringing heroes and villains from across the franchise of popular trading game. Some of these cards have been illustrated by Final Fantasy development veterans, including several Sephiroth cards illustrated by Nomura, who was an artist on the original version and creative director of the remake. This time around, this is a quote, "This time around, I drew Sephiroth on both the front and back sides of the card. I actually drew them so that they would join up if placed one on top of the other. So if you manage to get two of the same card and line them up, you'll see how the original illustration looked. Alongside the Sephiroth Fabled Soldier card, a card depicting Safer Sephiroth, the final boss in the original Final Fantasy VII game, has also been revealed. There is also a reason that the design for Safer Sephiroth is different from the original game, but I unfortunately can't share more about that." I mean, that sounds pretty cut and dry to me. You kind of just blew your load on what he's going to look like in the third part of the remake, right? And this kind of shit happens all the time. People slip up and release character art or box art or concept art, music. There's even been people who have gotten music too early on that actually spoils the game for them. So, and the article goes on like this. While Nomura hasn't stated that this is the case, the reason he's currently unwilling to explain the new design could be that it's related to the upcoming third and final installment of the Final Fantasy Remake trilogy. The third entry in the series, which begins development in 2024, currently does not have a release date. Final Fantasy Magic the Gathering expansion will be released on June 13th, 2025. Integrate was announced for Switch 2, blah, 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 blah. Okay. I'd say it's pretty cut and dry. I think he kind of just blew the load on it. I mean, it happens all the time. Thankfully, it's just not Nomura, so it's not like he's going to get fired for it. But Moving on. Next story. Epic prepares for Fortnite's iOS App Store return by boosting its Epic's reward to 20%. I'll run through this real quick if you care about it. I don't think my audience has bolstered many Fortnite fans, but Fortnite's a huge game, so I understand. Originally introduced in May 2023, Epic Rewards lets players earn 5% back in rewards anytime they make a purchase on the Epic's game store. Oh, okay, so we just cut this shit short right now. Now that it's coming back to iOS, they're boosting it from 5% to 20%. There you go. So if you're an Epic Rewards member, go start buying shit. Tony Hawk's next story. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4's upcoming remake is getting a major overhaul in one key area. Tony Hawk's upcoming remake is getting a... Oh, damn, I just read that. By default, Pro Skater 3 and 4 will follow the same gameplay format as Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, by giving players 2 minutes to complete as many goals as they can. While this was also the level mechanic in the original Pro Skater 3, this marks a change for Pro Skater 4, which initially concerned some fans. That's because originally Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4 was mission-based, meaning the player would approach NPCs in the world who would then give them objectives to complete. Once a player had completed enough of those challenges, they could progress to the next level. Well, in the remake, these objectives have been mainly removed or refitted in the 2-minute formats. It's been revealed. Okay, let's go ahead and cut it short again. Instead of the original four format where you go to the NPC in the open world and then they give you a mission and you do it. Instead, you're just going to accept the mission and you're going to have 2 minutes to complete it. I'll see you, Melina Moya, at 4. Hey, Dash, you never told us where that video was. You said you got a video that details why the Ori people were under fire. Is that on your YouTube? All right, moving forward. Next story. Intergalactic actor reveals Neil Druckmann's coaching on overcoming online harassment. This is Shorty, who's going to be the head of Intergalactic. If you don't know who she is and you've been watching Last of Us Season 2, she's the chick the woman that played Nora in Last of Us 2, the actual live action show. The star of Naughty Dog's next game, Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet, has said that Neil Druckmann has been boot camping her on dealing with online backlash, probably because she's about to be a female lead in a game, and a lot of you fucking weirdos are really strangely good at harassing women for being a lead in anything. The article reads like this. Tati Gabrielle, who plays Jordan, the protagonist of Naughty Dog's next game, has said that Naughty Dog's Neil Druckmann has been coaching her on how to deal with online backlash based on the experience of The Last of Us's cast. So yeah, so hand in hand. I need these pop-ups to stop popping up. Okay. Neil's boot camping me, she told EW. I know Troy's experience. I know Ashley's experience. I know Laura Bailey's experience. I got a lot of love, but there has been a lot of hate over me being a woman. Me being a woman of color, me having my head shaved, all these things that I didn't even actually initially see. I'm out of the social media zeitgeist for that reason, but once I did, Neil was like, ignore it. No matter what, me and you, we're going to make something beautiful. We're going to make something that we're proud of. Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet was announced during the Game Awards in 2024. The game features a sci-fi setting, and this is all just exposition. Let's see. Bounty Hunter. Neil Druckmann said that while the Last of Us series is about grief, the next game from Naughty Dog will be about faith and religion. Ooh, yeah, that's going to trigger a whole different type of people, too. Tati Gabrielle explained on those themes as part of the same interview. The question of faith is not black and white, she explained. When you initially think of faith, you think of religion, which is a part of it, but there's also faith in oneself. There's faith in the environment or your community. All that faith means is, what are your beliefs? What are the things that you hope for? Faith sounds flowery, but we all experience it day in and day out. What is your reason for waking up? Druckmann said last July that numerous games, including multiple single-player projects, were in development at Naughty Dog, but stressed that they won't all be the Last of Us titles. But while they won't all be the Last of Us titles, they will have similar goals. We create experiences that are stepped in story and character, especially relationships. The stories have some sort of philosophical core that everything is going to revolve around and feed into. So a lot of background here, but bottom line, Tati Gabrielle, the lead of the next Naughty Dog game, Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet, is already receiving online bullying, online harassment, and the director Neil Druckmann, who we already kind of know is a good guy, just based off interviews and firsthand experiences that we've heard about him, is basically coaching her through it. So, all right, moving on. Remedies Control spinoff FBC Firebreak enters closed technical test this weekend. Pretty self-explanatory. PS5 hit Stellar Blade is coming to PC with new features in June, according to leaked trailer. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Shift Up's PlayStation published action game Stellar Blade is coming to PC next month with additional content. This is according to a trailer for the PC version that was reportedly published early, hence the leaked allegations, and archived by social media users. According to the leaked trailer, Stellar Blade will release for PC on June 11th, mark your calendars, and include 25 new costumes. God damn! A new boss battle, support for DLSS and FSR, higher resolution textures, ultra-wide support, and more. Speaking during a Q&A earlier this year, Shift Up said it expects Stellar Blade to sell more on PC than it did on PlayStation 5. 25 new costumes? In the AAA game market, PC devices have had a higher market share than consoles, so we expect the performance of the PC version to exceed that of the console version. This is just more about how to sell better on PC. But if you haven't played Stellar Blade because you don't have a PlayStation but you have a PC, expect it to hit June 11th with 25 new costumes, a new boss battle, support for DLSS and FSR, higher resolution textures, ultra wide support, and more. Goddamn, reading on the internet is hard. Diego Portela, Sebastian, I'll see y'all over there in the TikTok chat. If you're still there, hit up the purple app or the red app. It's a much better experience. I can guarantee you that. All right, moving on. Capcom announces 8th consecutive year of record results, 12th consecutive year of operating profit growth. I'm not a numbers guy. Congratulations, Capcom. I'm glad you guys are doing good. You guys are putting in the work over there. Hogwarts Legacy on Switch 2 appears to have a $10 upgrade for owners of the digital Switch version. Again, pretty self-explanatory. There you go. Hogwarts Legacy on Switch 2 appears to have a $10 upgrade for owners of the digital Switch version. Next story. Nintendo president says Switch 2's price a key factor in lower than expected sales projections. Okay. So basically they're saying that it's going to sell less because it's going to be more expensive. Pretty easy. This is the one I'm more excited about. Tekken Boss wants to add an official Waffle House stage, but says it's ignoring his calls. When we first heard about this, it was brought to his attention, but he was saying that he didn't understand the cultural significance that Waffle House had and why he wanted it in his game. But now it says that he wants to, but they're basically ghosting him. Let's see. Tekken series producer Katsuhiro Harada says he wants to add a stage inspired by Waffle House, but the U.S. restaurant chain is ignoring his collaboration request. Last year, Harada took to X to ask his followers why so many of them were asking him to add a Tekken stage in the Waffle House. Players replied by explaining that Waffle House has become something of a meme due to its numerous viral videos of fights taking place in its restaurant, sometimes involving staff. One video in particular sees a customer throwing a chair at a worker who was able to block it midair and throw it to the side, a move that led to numerous memes comparing it to a fighting game. Harada himself has commented on it, calling it an excellent parry. That's hilarious. Now, a year later, Harada has updated players on the situation, as spotted by Automaton, saying he's been trying his best to contact Waffle House for a potential collaboration, but they aren't replying to his request. To be honest, within the bounds of what I can say, I fully understand your guys' request. That's precisely why I had considered taking on this challenge. That's a lie? Or the last story that we heard about this was false, because he said that he didn't understand it. Either way, moving on. In fact, I had already been thinking about it quite a while ago. Over the past year or more, I've actually tried to make contact through several different channels. However, and this is purely my own speculation, I suspect that the lack of response may be due to the fact that the project I'm known for revolves around fighting-themed video games. By the way, no response, very rare case. Oh, so basically he's saying, what was he saying? Basically he's saying maybe Waffle House is suggesting that they don't want to be involved with the game that's primarily known for fighting. I mean, at this point, Waffle House, you kind of don't have a chance. It's part of the culture. And here's a tweet from Katsuhiro Arata. If we can't get that house name license, how about we call it Hustle House Stage? Doesn't that make sense to everyone? Yeah. Not gonna lie to you, bro. If you can just do it and call it Hustle House, and we still get the big yellow squares with the black letters inside those yellow squares, goal accomplished at this point. Oh, it even says down here, quote from him, if using a different name or format is acceptable as long as the core message is maintained, then I would be willing to seriously reconsider and explore this again. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Let's just drop the petition, because it'll get to the point where if you put it online, hey, sign this if you want a stage in Tekken to be based off Waffle House. It's gonna do numbers. Waffle House is going to see it, and they're going to understand that it's better PR than worse PR. Moving on. Next headline. Fallout Season 2 premieres in December. Has been renewed for Season 3. We kind of covered that a little bit earlier. Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra has been delayed to 2026. This is the second fucking game on my fantasy critic that has been delayed into 2026. The first one was a little bit my fault because it was GTA 6. The second one is not my fault because Amy Hennig still hasn't had a game published for this will make 16 years. Amy Hennig was one of the original writers, executive producers, creative directors, whatever you want to call it, on the Uncharted series. So that's why there's so much hype behind this game, and obviously the Marvel IP. Let's look into it. Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra has been delayed to next year, the game's publisher has announced. In a statement posted on X, Skydance Games said the game, which was previously set to release in 2025, will now come out early next year instead. We have a very important update taking this additional time. It's your basic delay jargon. Either way, if you have that game in your fantasy critic, go get it out of there right now. And if not, you were a smarter man than I was. Oh, speaking of how we were talking about earlier with the whole Ori situation, the next story reads like this. Microsoft announces plans to lay off thousands more workers. 3% of employees across all departments will be laid off, the company says. Microsoft has announced that it will be laying off 3% of its total staff. The layoffs will take place across all levels, teams, and locations, according to a CNCB. So basically more layoffs at Microsoft. Damn. So they're saying that they're gonna lay off 3% of their employees, which totals almost 7,000 people. Jesus Christ. So more layoffs at Microsoft. Unfortunately, this just seems to be growing into a decade of layoffs rather than a couple years of layoffs. But during COVID, basically what happened was everybody was staying home, so gaming got really big. And while gaming was getting big, the profitization that they were gaining was also ballooning with the audience. And when the world opened back up, people stopped playing as many games as they had because they were outside again. And here we are back to basically the consequence of the growth that all those shareholders were seeing, because they were seeing constant growth. Just naturally people stopped playing it, and now that they're not seeing so much growth, all those people that got hired on to kind of catch up with the demand are getting laid off now. I mean, it's sad to say, but unfortunately, it's not nothing that we're not used to. Next article, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is getting no more content or support as developer says it's now fully realized. If you're one of those 5 people out there that have still been playing the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game, don't look forward to any more DLC or updates. Moving on, let me just make sure where we're supposed to be. What was that? Page 5, 4. Moving on to page 3. Again, if you're over on the TikTok side, consider moving over to the purple app or the red app. It's a much better experience over there. I got the articles on the screen. I got a better camera angle than that shit that TikTok is forcing me to use. So just a heads up. Next article. Nearly 5 years in, PS5 sales remain neck and neck with PS4. Again, I'm not a numbers guy, but it says PS5 is just 1.2 million units behind PS4. PS4 had a pretty good launch. I mean, PS4 lasted from what? 13 to 2020, so about a 7-year run. And we're only 5 years in, and PS5 is closing in. So I'd say that sells pretty good. I'm not a numbers guy, but I would assume that means good news. The title of the Super Mario Brothers movie sequel has accidentally been revealed early. Again, Cliff Notes. There was a list of movies that are coming to streaming services, and they released a lot of project names or basic considered names of the sequels, and they said that it was Super Mario World. So, Kingdom Hearts mobile game Missing Link has been canceled. If you don't know, this was basically Pokemon Go like that Square Enix was developing for Kingdom Hearts, and we got a couple images of it. They said it was damn near finished, but they're canceling it, so no need to go in there unless you're one of the 6 people who understand what's actually going on in Kingdom Hearts. This might be a triggering story, because if you remember, or if you understand the lore of Kingdom Hearts as it sits now, then one thing that you really understand is that every single entry is detrimental to the lore of this game. The last mobile game that Kingdom Hearts had literally had the entire origin story of the main villain of the series, and it was only available in that game. So them canceling this game may trigger you, but again, that's only 0.000000001% of the population. So I mean, I hate it for you guys, but moving on. Next article. Square Enix reiterates plans for quality over quantity and multi-format games going forward. This is a follow-up of a story that we had, I want to say last year, maybe even 2 years ago, where Square Enix basically came out and said that they wouldn't be doing so many games, because it got to a point to where you could say it. I'll give you a title: Demonstrous Metaphor Enlightening Goals. And it got to a point where you couldn't even tell me if that was a real or fake Square Enix game, because they were releasing so many either 2.5D RPGs or AAA RPGs. I mean, hell, we got. For the last 4 years, we've had a Final Fantasy every year, or a Final Fantasy spinoff, and we've had 8. We've had 2 Project Octopath Travelers. We've had, and that's just like some of their mainline shit. So basically, what's happening is instead of just releasing a multitude of games, they're bringing all those teams in, tightening them up, and then focusing on developing more quality games over quantity games. Next article. Square Enix reiterates. Jesus, there's a lot of Square Enix news. Final Fantasy Square Enix is building an original game with a surprising partner. Okay, let's dive into this one a little bit. Square Enix is planning an original IP with Japan's TBS television. Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest publisher Square Enix is teaming up with the Japanese television company with an original video game project. It's announced. Square Enix will be working on the video game with TBS Television, the Tokyo-based network best known for Ninja Warrior, Ultraman, and Takeshi's Castle. Could we be seeing the next iteration of Doritos Crash Course? Or am I looking a little bit too deep into it already? According to a press release, the two companies intended to combine their strengths in television and interactive entertainment with the original video game IP will be launched in both Japan and internationally. No further information was shared, but Square Enix said the collaboration was part of its new medium-term business plan to create more original IP and development. So it doesn't really tell us anything, but basically, Square Enix is going to be developing a game based off an IP that Japan's TBS station houses. If there's anybody out there in the chat that made it through me butchering that sentence and knows anything about Japanese TBS, let me know what it could possibly be. It sounds interesting. Next article reads, fan favorite Alan Wake 2 band, Old Gods of Asgard, won't appear in Remedy's next game. That's sad, but I don't care. A graphic designer is making a GTA-style mystery game set in Paisley, Scotland. What? Let's look into it. Scottish graphic designer started working on a mystery game set in his hometown of Paisley. And not too much news other than just that he played GTA and he liked it. Now he's making a game, but that's good. Next article, WWE 2K25's first DLC pack, New Wave, is out today, adding 4 new wrestlers with an unknown celebrity to come. Okay, I'll bite. WWE 2K25's first DLC pack, New Wave, is out today, adding 4 new wrestlers with an unknown celebrity to come. I'm going to guess it's going to be Kai Cenat. It reads like this. The first of 5 DLC packs for WWE 2K25 is available today. The New Wave pack contains 4 playable superstars, all of whom joined the WWE roster in recent history. The pack includes Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin of the tag team Motor City Machine Guns, as well as NXT stars Stephanie Vaquer and Guilla. It's spelled Guilia, however you pronounce that. It also includes My Faction cards for each of the new wrestlers, as well as 40 new moves and taunts to use in the game's creation suites. 2K says the New Wave pack will also include a special celebrity guest from character who's set to be revealed via an exciting announcement from WWE. As well as the New Wave pack, 2K says the second chapter of the Island mode, which is their new mode, will be arriving soon and will feature 11 new quests, 44 new matches, new unlockable content, including Xavier Woods' video game alter ego Zero and Paul Bearer's Ghost, and new branded gear. So there you go. 2 new members from the Motor City. What was it? Looking for it. Motor City Machine Guns, as well as NXT star Stephanie Vaquer and Guilla. Cool. If you play WWE 2K25, is this good news for you? Next story, PS Plus. Sony announces 10 new games joining this month, including Battlefield 5 and Sandland. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. On May 20th, 9 new titles will be added to PlayStation Plus Premium and Extra, with 1 classic PS2 title joining Premium. This includes Atlas's RPG Soul Hackers 2. It's good. Stalkers, Legend of the Zone trilogy, which is the first 3 Stalkers. Sega strategy game Humankind. Harvest Moon remake, Story of Seasons, A Wonderful Life. And more. Okay, that's cool. So, yeah, Sandland, Soul Hackers 2, Five Nights at Freddy's, Help Wanted, Battlefield 5, Stalker, Legends of the Zone trilogy, the PS4 and PS5 versions. Grand Blue Fantasy Versus Rising, PS4 and PS5. Humankind, PS4 and PS5. Story of Seasons, A Wonderful Life, PS5. Gloomhaven Mercenaries Edition, PS4 and PS5. It's pretty cool. Oh, and then for premium, you get Battle Engine Akira, PS4 and PS5. So, next story. Ubisoft delays major games, but says Prince of Persia remake is finally on track. And we believe that. Yeah, we believe that. Ubisoft delays major games, but says Prince of Persia remake is finally on track. Whatever. Let's see. I see you, Abrigo Samantha. Ubisoft has revealed its decision to delay major announcement titles. Sorry. Ubisoft has revealed its decision to delay major unannounced titles to give them additional development time. Although Ubisoft does not specify which games were delayed, its statement strongly suggests they are titles in its biggest franchise, such as Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, Ghost Recon, and Rainbow Six. After a thorough review of its pipeline that took place from October to December, the group decided to provide additional development time to some of its biggest productions in order to create the best conditions for success. The decision has already been beneficial to the quality of Assassin's Creed Shadows as a consequence. And as a consequence, fiscal year 26 to 27 and 27 to 28 will see significant growth versus 25 to 26. I honestly just see this as a plea to basically appease their shareholders, because Ubisoft has been on the decline for quite some time now. And last time it got to the point to where they were about to just go bankrupt as a company, they kind of did the same thing where they pulled out a Hail Mary, and needless to say, they announced a whole bunch of shit that either came to existence or didn't, like Beyond Good and Evil 2, which has been restarted in development hell for it's 11th time, basically to save their ass. So I just see this as another kind of like scapegoat situation. Let's see. Next article. SNK CEO steps down after heavily marketed Fatal Fury City of the Wolves seemingly muted launch. I don't want to say it's not news, but let's read it. See, SNK CEO... Let's read it. SNK has announced that its CEO will be stepping down following the release of its heavily marketed latest fighting game. The company announced that Kenji Matsubara, who joined as a CEO in August 2021, will transition to an advisory role where he will continue to lend his expertise and vision. During his tenure as CEO, Mr. Matsubara has been instrumental in driving the company's growth and innovation, a statement reads. He transformed SNK by expanding its development division and strengthening its sales and marketing function, building it into a global publisher capable of competing worldwide. As part of this transition, the board will appoint the chairman of the board to assume the interim role of CEO. So, SNK basically got rid of their CEO because the last fighting game didn't do too good. Sucks to see, but it is what it is. All right. At this point in the show, we're going to go ahead and take a break. We're about halfway through the last week. We're 5 days in. We got 4 days left to go, which also grants me the opportunity to make the TikTok feed look a lot better, because it said all I needed to do was live stream 25 minutes, and then I can show you guys my OBS feed. So here's hoping I get to do that now. So I'm going to end it on TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube. And you're just going to sit here and look at this screen, and I'll be right back. The worst part about TikTok, besides the fact that I can't move this damn window over, oh, there we go, is that it doesn't allow me to use my multi-streaming whatever. I'm using Streamlabs right now, and it doesn't let me multi-stream at all. Highest viewers 4 minutes. Okay, J&K, I appreciate that, young man. None. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and restart the TikTok side, and then after I restart that, I'm gonna go use the restroom real quick, and then we're gonna continue with the rest of the stories because I need to get some water. Talking for an hour straight is apparently a lot harder than I thought it was gonna be. All right, I'll be right back. Wait. Wait. It's crazy. And then TikTok acts like we sits there and act like we need them. Like they didn't just get banned for what was it, a whole weekend, and they lost how much revenue, but they want to come back and make all these rules. Come on, man. Yeah, it looks like it's gonna take a while for the. It looks like it's gonna take a while for the TikTok studio shit to come around, but I've always got Twitch and YouTube to carry me over. Delete that. All right, I'll be right back, y'all. I'm about to go use the restroom real quick. Then I'll be back in like 3 minutes. All right, I'm back. One day there's gonna be ads there. Wouldn't that be nice? Our next article: Ubisoft Racer is the next game set to get a movie adaptation. Now, out of all the video game movie adaptations, how the hell did we as a collective just all come together and decide that the best fit after all the successes that we've had, Sonic, uh, Mario, what, Minecraft, am I missing something? Last of Us, Fallout, that a Ubisoft racing game was the next one set to get a movie adaptation. I don't know. I guess we'll find out when we read the article, huh, Brian? The publisher is teaming up with Bad Boys for Life director Adil and Bilal. Never mind. Never mind. Have y'all seen Bad Boys for Life? We might have something. We might have something on our hands here. Another movie adaptation of a video game has been announced, and this time it's a Ubisoft IP. Riders Republic is set to be made into a film, with production being handled by Gaumont and Ubisoft Film and Television, according to a Deadline report. The film will be directed by Adil El Arbi and Bilal Fallah, collectively billed as Adil and Bilal, who are responsible for directing the third and fourth Bad Boys movies, Bad Boy for Life and Bad Boys Ride or Die. Bad Boys Ride or Die was hands over fist better than Bad Boys for Life, but Bad Boys for Life was not that cashed-in sequel that we all thought we were getting. Bad Boys Ride or Die, phenomenal movie. It will also be written by Noe Debris, who previously wrote Defen, which was awarded the Palm. It's something French in 2015. According to the report, the Riders Republic film will be set in the Alps and will focus on stunts and humor in an attempt to capture the game's tone. Riders Republic was released on October 21. That is editorializing, but I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. Y'all just seen me get done talking shit about it, and then as soon as I read into it, I'm not gonna lie to you. With those directors on set to make it, I think we might have something there. I see you possiblemente, Sean. Next article. Epic CEO says Apple still hasn't approved its Fortnite iOS submission. Suggests it's obstructing the process. I'll just give you the clip notes on that. Apple basically won the lawsuit against Apple because Epic was tired of Apple charging an additional fee on top of everything that Epic earned, which Epic being the Fortnite producers or developers studio. And Epic took them to court, and they won against Apple. And it came down to they were supposed to allow Epic to put Fortnite back on iOS, and they weren't going to charge them that fee. They actually made it to where Apple can't charge anybody that fee, but apparently it seems like they're blocking it. All right, next article. Death Stranding is getting a 12-city world tour with special guests and events. I'm going to need y'all to help me get big enough to go to one of these events. Death Stranding 2, it should say, is getting a 12-city world tour with special guests and events. Kojima Production has announced a 12-city world tour to celebrate the release of Death Stranding 2 on the beach. The Death Stranding World Strand Tour 2 will kick off in Los Angeles on it says 8 June. That's why it threw me off. I promise I can read. On June 8th during Summer's Game Fest, and will travel across the world before ending in Lucca in Italy in November. Damn, that's a fucked up article. The game itself will be released on June 26th, meaning most of the dates in the tour will place the game when it's already out. But what is the tour? Is it a concert? Is it a showing? Is it a hands-on demo or what? Each stop will feature special guests and events, but it's not yet confirmed exactly what that will entail or whether the list of guests will be the same at every location. Last month, PlayStation confirmed that a special edition, it doesn't say exactly what the tour is supposed to be. Here's a quote. As I sniped a guard from a watchtower, equipped a silenced rifle, and planned a sneaky infiltration into an enemy base to extract a prisoner, it was impossible to escape with the thought that, oh wow, this really does feel like Metal Gear. Whoa, what the fuck? They did all that in Metal Gear. They did all that in Death Stranding too. As I sniped a guard from a watchtower. There's snipers in Death Stranding too. And planned a sneaky infiltration into an enemy base to extract a prisoner. There's prisoner extraction in Death Stranding 2. It was impossible to escape that. Oh wow, this really does feel like Metal Gear we wrote. Well, yeah. Instead of running from mules with their electric sticks, you're frequently blasting through them with a shotgun or grenade launcher. And rather than awkwardly stumbling across a rocky ravine, dropping packages as you go, more often I was cruising in my tricked out vehicle with 2 automatic turrets, blasting anyone who dared impede my delivery. This shit sounds fucking awesome. Why is the first article that we got from Death Stranding 2 about a tour and not about the fact that you're sniping people, extracting prisoners, and driving around with a vehicle with automatic turrets on it? So Death Stranding 2 might be the second coming of Metal Gear. Because we already got the reveal trailer of that guy putting on the Metal Gear Solid type headband. And we saw like his group of people with all the assault rifles and shits going on. But if you're doing that as Sam Porter Bridges, or maybe we're not playing as Sam Porter Bridges, what if this is like a Metal Gear Solid 2 type thing where you started off as him and then you just start playing as Raiden for the rest of the game? Damn, I'm intrigued. This is what we need to do. We need to get together, and we need to load my follows and my views up, so that way I become a much better and well-respected content creator, and I can get into one of these hands-on demos. And I promise, what's up, Bottle Cap Dragon? I promise, I'm gonna let y'all know everything that I see. Damien151, I see you in Twitch. What's up, man? If I swear to God, if you a bot, okay. Next story. Switch 2 pre-orders are now on my Nintendo Store UK for all Switch Online members with no invite needed. That's cool. There's a limit of 1 per customer, however. All right, so if you're on the My Nintendo Store in UK and you're a Switch Online member, you can pre-order your Switch now. Moving on. Test Death Stranding 2 reviews are scoring far higher than the original, claims Kojima. This is what I was just talking about. Hideo Kojima has claimed that the audience test reviews show that players are feeling far more positive about Death Stranding 2 on the beach than they did about the original game. However, the creator says that this puts him in a conflicting situation since he's not motivated by making something that appeals to everyone. All right, Kojima, I understand that you're an artist, but what you got to understand is that you gave us the entirety of Metal Gear, which was phenomenal. And then you switched off of that and you said, I'm going to do the next ones for me. These are going to be for me. And then it hit, and then now the second one that you made for you is getting too popular, so now you mad about it? You got to get that up, my boy. You're just a good video game maker. No, don't change it. The original Death Stranding, which has players delivering packages across the serene landscape, was one of the most polarizing blockbuster games in recent memory, with critic scores ranging from perfect 10s to 4 out of 10s. With On the Beach, Kojima Productions says it's created a more action-oriented sequel. Oh, I see. Okay, so he actually kind of tweaked it to be more appealing, but it makes him sad, which is basically the plight of the artist, right? Speaking in the latest issue of Edge magazine, which is on sale now, Kojima claimed On the Beach is scoring much higher with test audiences. He said Sony is pleased with On the Beach test preview so far, but admitted that he wished the sequel were a bit more controversial with audiences. Quote, I do listen to criticism. If the controls need tweaking or if a camera pan is too slow or too fast, but I don't alter themes or story based on feedback, Kojima said. Of course I want people to play my game, so I must listen to them at a certain extent. But also, I'm not interested in making something that appeals to everyone. Asked about the audience review testing and how much he pays attention to it, Kojima replied, in fact, I did a lot of monitoring tests for the original Death Stranding. I'd found that 4 out of 10 people would love the game, but 6 would say it was a terrible game for me. I think that's a good balance. 40%? But with the playtest for Death Stranding 2 on the beach, everyone seems to be positive. So, hold on. So Kojima went from accepting a 40% approval rating to 80% being his point where he was like, "Nah, everybody likes this game too much. I can't release it." Don't be that kind of hipster, Kojima. He added, "Sony is pleased, of course, but I do wish I was a bit more controversial. Blockbuster films need an 80% approval rating. I don't want to make games like that. I'm not interested in appealing to the mass market or selling to millions of copies. That's not what I'm aiming for." But this is what you got to understand, Kojima. You're not making these games to appeal to people. Not since you left Konami. Your whole mission statement with Kojima Productions was to do what the fuck you wanted to do. And now that you're getting a better approval rating, you can't be mad because we're accepting it. Yeah, you got a little bit of turbulence on Death Stranding 1. And then you tweaked it and you made it better for everybody. You're making games. I know you don't want your games to appeal to everybody, but you're not selling your soul. You're just making a better game. Moving on, Death Stranding 2 on the Beach will release for PlayStation 5th on June 26th, which is damn really fucking close. So that's all it is to it. And just Kojima being a hipster, but what did we expect in all reality? Next article. A Forza supercar owned by Xbox Game Studios' former head is being auctioned for gaming charity special effects. I don't care. Do y'all? I don't think so. I see you, Z Kui. I see you, Ivan. Next article. Seminal idle game Cookie Clicker is coming to consoles next week. If you don't know what Cookie Clicker is literally that. You just sit there and click the cookie until you earn different achievements. It's like one of those we're becoming less of a species games. Cookie Clicker is coming to consoles next week. It's been announced. The game, which is considered one of the early successes in the idle game genre, that's what they're called, idle games, will be released on May 22nd for PS5, PS4, Xbox, Switch, and Switch 2, with the latter's release presumably coming later. While the game's price is yet to be revealed in every console's digital store, the Switch version is priced at $5, implying the PlayStation and Xbox versions will be similarly priced. This is the same price as the Steam version of the game, which has been released in September 2021. Basically, Cookie Clicker's coming to consoles. Yay! The next free Epic Game Store titles are available now, with 3 more coming next week. Let's read them out. I like reading the free shit. I like saving people money. All right. It goes like this. Dead Island 2 and Happy Game are the latest free games, with both available to claim for the next 7 days. Now, this article was posted on the 15th of May. It is the 19th of May, so you still have 3 days. The games replace Dead Time, Defenders, and Touch Type Tail, which were the last week's free games. When the timer ends on May 22nd, Dead Island 2 and Happy Game will no longer be free to claim, but Epic says it will be replaced with 3 free new games. As is always the case. Does it tell you what the 3 free games are? Nope. Okay. So there you go. Dead Island 2 and free game, Happy Game. More Kojima news. I love Kojima news. Hideo Kojima says he's left staff a USB stick of game ideas for after he dies. You beautiful fucking man, you. The Metal Gear creator says he wants Kojima Productions to continue creating original games after his death. Yes, sir. Metal Gear creator Hideo Kojima says he's reevaluated his priorities since turning 60. That man is 60 years old? He's doing pretty good. and becoming severely ill during the pandemic, and has even left a will containing game ideas for staff to use after his death. Kojima turned 60 during the production of Death Stranding 2, but the game designer told Edge magazine in its latest issue that an illness he suffered during the pandemic was what had most inspired him to seriously consider what to do with his remaining years. It also stirred the game's auteur to consider the future of his studio, he said, which is why he's decided to take on numerous projects such as the Sony action espionage game Fizzant, an Xbox-backed OD, and the upcoming Death Stranding sequel. Now, this is a direct quote from him. I see you, Royal Squid. Turning 60 was less of a turning point in my life than my experiences during the pandemic, he told Edge. I felt seriously ill at the time and also had an I felt seriously ill at the time and also had an eye operation. Until then, I didn't think I was old, you know? I just didn't feel my age, and I assumed I would be able to create for as long as I live. But then I became sick, and I couldn't create anything. And I saw lots of people around me passing away at that time. I was confronted with death, or of course... Hold on. But then I became sick, and I couldn't create anything. And I saw lots of people around me passing away at the time. I was confronted with death. Of course, I recovered, but now I was thinking, wait, how many years do I have left to make a game or a film? Perhaps I have 10 years? Kojima said, God, it's translated from Japanese, so the grammar is like a little bit off, but they're directly translating. Kojima said he's since reevaluated his priorities for how he should spend his remaining years. He said he had considered directing a film, but directors Guillermo del Toro and Nicholas Winding Refn, who both appear in Death Stranding, advised him to stick to video games. Why? During his illness in the pandemic, Kojima said he realized a lot of fans wanted him to make something like Metal Gear, which is why he decided to create the espionage game Fizzant with Sony, which is basically, is that the most direct quote that we've ever gotten to why he's making Fizzant, is because people were asking him to make Metal Gear? So is Fizzant the successor to Metal Gear, or is Death Stranding 2 with the Solid Snake looking guy the spiritual successor to Metal Gear? I don't know. Kojima said he believes spending his remaining years creating a variety of projects will help better secure his future of Kojima Productions beyond his lifespan, which is something he is increasingly thinking about. And here's the quote: I gave a USB stick with all my ideas on it to my personal assistant, kind of like a will. Perhaps they could continue to make things after I'm gone at Kojima Productions. This is a fear for me. What happens to Kojima Productions after I'm gone? I don't want them to just manage our existing IP, right? Because they will do that. You will see Death Stranding 1 remake, Death Stranding 2 remake, Death Stranding 2 director's cut, Death Stranding Off the Beach, Death Stranding Beachside, Death Stranding Beach Whale. You will see them abuse the fuck out of your IP if you don't do. You leave something for them to do. I 1000% can tell you that. All right, moving on. Stellar Blade's PC bonus content will be added to PS5 for free. Shift Up continues. This is from the earlier story with those 25 new costumes, the boss, and let's read it. The PC version of Stellar Blade will release on June 11th and include 25 new costumes, a new boss battle, support for DLSS and FSR, higher resolution textures, ultra-wide support, and more. And that's all basically coming to PS5 for free. So there you go. Jade Raymond has left Haven Studios, the PlayStation-owned studio she founded. What happened here? She was the one creating Fair Games, right? Veteran producer Jade Raymond has left Haven Studios, the company she founded in 2021. According to a new report by Bloomberg, Raymond, who rose to prominence after introducing Assassin's Creed and executive producing Assassin's Creed 2, Bloodlines, and Watch Dogs, has left her studio, which is still in the process of developing online shooter Fair Games. Yeah, what happened? Although a reason wasn't given for Raymond's departure, the report cites sources who note that an external test of Fair Games took place several weeks ago and that some developers were concerned about how it was received. Oh, okay. So I can tell you exactly what happened just based off that first line. And obviously this is an assumption, but I mean, with understandings of how the industry's kind of going and 29 years of gaming experience, I can tell you that What it probably was is that Sony asked her to make an online shooter or a multiplayer shooter, and when it really came down to it, they probably were already on the edge about it because, given her track record, Assassin's Creed 2, Bloodlines, and Watch Dogs, that's not what she got into the industry for. So you go to a bigger publisher, they give you your own, or you create your own studio, they give you loads of money, but they say, this is what we need from you. And it challenges your morals, it challenges your beliefs. And when it really comes down to it, after a play test of people saying they don't like it, it's the final straw, right? Well, let's go forward. Although a reason wasn't given for Raymond's departure, the report cites, whatever. The departure rounds off an eventful decade for Raymond, who left Ubisoft to found EA Motive Studio in 2015, before leaving in 2018 for Google Stadia. After Google decided to close its internal games development teams in 2021, Raymond left her position as Stadia's development boss and, along with 5 co-founders and around 20 ex-Google employees, launched Haven Studios, a Montreal-based outfit with PlayStation funding its first game, which turned out to be Fair Games. Sony then announced in 2022 that it was acquiring the studio for an undisclosed price. Oh, so all was wrong. She started making Fair Games and then Sony bought it. Jade Raymond has been an incredible partner and visionary force in founding Haven Studios. We are deeply grateful for her leadership and contributions, and we wish her all the best in her next chapter. They added that PlayStation is committed to supporting Haven Studios and excited to continue the journey, implying that development on Fair Games will proceed even though Sony has canceled numerous other online multiplayer projects in recent months. Earlier this year, it was reported that Sony had canceled live service games in development. That's editorializing, but basically, Fair Games, if it does come out, will be the hollow remains of what Jade Raymond started and Sony later backed up. Is it worth it? I don't know. I guess we'll see. I see you, Stephen Cosello, in TikTok chat. Next article. Take-Two says GTA 6's delay will be worth it and suggests it's confident of no further slips. It's pretty much surface level. Killer Instinct Gold becomes the 39th Nintendo 64 game to be added to Switch Online. Cool. Nintendo has detailed the free Switch 2 Nintendo has detailed the free Switch 2 updates coming to 12 Switch games. Let me do it one more time. I got this. Nintendo has detailed the free Switch 2 updates coming to 12 Switch games. Let's check them out. Let me drink some water real quick. We got this. Nintendo has previously stated that free updates will be coming to certain Switch games, as well as the paid Switch 2 edition upgrades other games will be getting. Now, granted, I've been talking for an hour and 23 minutes straight. I don't think my mouth was prepared for this, but I'm sticking in this shit till we get through it. All right, continuing. Now it's added details on exactly which games will be getting updates on the day. The Switch 2 launches on June 5th, including such titles as Super Mario Odyssey, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, as well as what these updates will entail. Some games will only be getting the addition of game share support, a new feature which means that players with multiple Switch consoles, be that Switch or Switch 2, will be able to play multiplayer with only one copy of the game. Okay, yeah, we saw game share. We got images. Can we get a list? The full list is as follows. 51 worldwide games. ARMS, Big Brain Academy, Brain vs. Brain, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, Game Builder Garage, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, Super Mario Odyssey, The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, Link's Awakening. That was it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's only 10 games. 11. Okay. Well, there you have it, folks. Moving on. Apple has blocked Fortnite from coming to the iOS App Store Epic Game. Wait a minute. They won the lawsuit, though. What happened here? See, this is a good one to get into. What's up, Evelyn Bautista? Apple has blocked Fortnite from coming to iOS App Store, Epic Games says. The game was submitted to Apple for review on May 9th. But on May 14th, Epic CEO Tim Sweeney told followers on X that Apple still hadn't approved the game's release. Now the game's official X account has posted a statement saying the game's addition to the iOS App Store has been blocked and that the game will be unavailable globally on iOS until Apple reverses its decision. Hold on, they took these guys to court. And it was stated in court that Apple had to let them get back on the iOS store and that they could not charge them that exorbitant fee. Apple has blocked our Fortnite submission, so we can't release it to the US App Store or the Epic Game Store for iOS is in the European Union. The statement reads, now, sadly, Fortnite on iOS will be offline worldwide until Apple unblocks it. Damn. This is the latest chapter in the ongoing Epic versus Apple saga, which stretches back to 2020, when the Fortnite publisher sued Apple for taking a 30% cut on all in-app purchases, while also banning any alternative ways of making payments outside of Apple's ecosystem. Damn. So where do we go from here? Because they literally took them to court, or is it just because that they banned them in the EU that they're not letting anybody get it globally? Interesting. I guess I'm assuming that we're about to see another lawsuit pop up, and we'll see where it goes from there. Interesting. All right, now we get into the bread and butter. Oh, shit. Bungie confirms that an artist's work was taken and used in Marathon without their permission. Why? Because of AI? And that the staff member responsible no longer works at Bungie. All right. Oh, so somebody was just stealing work. Bungie has acknowledged that an artist's work was taken and used in its upcoming Marathon without their permission. Scottish artist Fern Hook, who posts as 4NT1R34L on social media, posted a series of messages on X on Thursday accusing Bungie of taking assets from her previous work and using it in the newly released alpha for the game. The Marathon Alpha released recently and its environments are covered with assets lifted from poster designs I made in 2017, Hook claimed, posting numerous comparison images. Bungie is, of course, not obligated to hire me when making a game that draws overwhelmingly from the same design language I have refined for the last decade, but clearly my work was good enough to pillage for ideas and plaster all over their games without pay or attribution. Hey, what a way to shit on somebody, bruh. Can I get that one more time? Let me get some water real quick. Because I don't want to fumble this. Bungie is, of course, not obligated to hire me when making a game that draws overwhelmingly from the same design language I have refined for the last decade. But clearly my work was good enough to pillage for ideas and plaster all over their games without pay or attribution. Excuse me? I'm on his side after that one. Damn. The Marathon Alpha released recently and its environments are covered with assets lifted from poster designs I made in 2017. Which one is it? Let's go ahead and click on this X link. The Marathon Alpha release. Oh, this is it. So it's literally like their in-game assets. Like the way he does like his calligraphy and shit is what he's talking about. Okay. Bungie has now acknowledged that Hook's claims are accurate and that the staff member responsible for the apparent plagiarism is no longer employed there. Damn. We immediately investigated a concern regarding unauthorized use of artist decals in Marathon and confirmed that a former Bungie artist included these in a texture sheet that was ultimately used in-game. A statement in the game's official Discord server reads, the issue was unknown by our existing art team, and we are still reviewing. We take matters. Whatever. So, yeah, basically he stole it, and the person who did it, got fired. Hey, Red Dead Redemption 2 is reportedly coming to Switch 2 as Take-Two commits to Nintendo. Pretty surface level there. Expect that. Nintendo confirms previously expected Switch 2 feature won't be available at launch. VRR in docked mode because they had it on their Nintendo Direct, and then in later advertisements for it, they took it off. So this was actually a conspiracy theory for a while. Nintendo confirms previously variable refresh rate will not be supported in docked mode. Despite initially announcing the feature, Nintendo has confirmed that Switch 2 will not support VRR when played in docked television mode. VRR, in Nintendo's words, helps games move more seamlessly by preventing frame skips and flickering. Following Switch 2's full reveal in April. So why the fuck? A spokesperson told Nintendo Life, Nintendo Switch 2 supports VRR in handheld mode only. The incorrect information was initially published on the... Okay, alright. So what happened there was that they probably just put VRR as a general term and didn't put that it was literally in handheld mode only. Okay. I thought it was in docked mode, advertising docked mode, and not handheld mode, and then they rolled it back. But if it's in one mode and not the other, I can understand where the switch up came. All right, next article. Here's how Pokemon Scarlet and Violet's visuals compare on Switch 2 versus Switch 1. That's not something I feel like I can just read to you guys, so I would suggest going to VGC and looking at it yourself. Final stretch here, guys. A year after release, Activision is winding down Call of Duty Warzone Mobile. There you go. Pretty surface level there, too. Let's see exactly what they're winding down, because Call of Duty Mobile is pretty big. Activision says COD Warzone has not met our expectations on mobile. A little over a year after its release, Activision is pulling Call of Duty Warzone Mobile from the App Store and Google Play Store and ending support for the game. Released in March 2024, the iOS and Android game is co-developed by Activision Shanghai Beenox, Digital Legends, and Solid State Studios. It's a Call of Duty second mobile game. In a statement published on Friday, Activision said it has decided to end support for Warzone Mobile because it has not met our expectations with mobile-first players like it has PC and console audiences. Effective immediately? They couldn't have gave y'all some kind of warning. Players will no longer be able to purchase digital currency and no further seasonal... Oh, you just can't buy the currency anymore. But what if you wanted to buy something else one more time? And no further seasonal content will be added, released for Warzone Mobile. From Sunday, March 18th, the game will no longer be available to download from stores. Fuck. Players who have the game installed before this date will be able to continue to play online matches, however. Going forward, we will be streamlining the scope of the game. The decision was made after careful consideration for various factors, and while we're proud of the accomplishment in bringing Call of Duty Warzone Mobile to its... Damn. So, I mean, they basically said effective immediately. That's it. Like, no more currency for you guys. You'll still be able to play online, but we're winding down a lot of stuff going on. That is insane. All right, let's keep it pushing, I guess. Next article. Shuhei Yoshida claims 2 fan-favorite PS Vita games are getting sequels before the transition to PS4. What does that mean? That's according to former sequels to 2 fan-favorite PS Vita games were in development before the budget. Were getting sequels before they transitioned to PS4. Okay. So we can just run through these. Speaking on Sacred Symbols Plus, Yoshida said, we were actually working on Soul Sacrifice 2 and Freedom Wars 2, but because of budget limitations, we had to stop and move on to PS4. There you go, surface level. Soul Sacrifice and Freedom Wars. We're going to get a sequel on Vita, but PS4 happened. I see you, Jamil Dollars. I see you, Tonyo. What's up, Tonyo? Nintendo confirmed Switch 2 will include much requested accessibility features. Again, if you're over on the TikTok side and you got this shitty ass view over here, it's because TikTok won't let me use my OBS setup. But if you go over to the purple app or the red app, it's a much better layout. I got the article on screen. And I got a better camera angle. So if you're over here looking at me right here from this, Go over to the purple app or the red app, and you get a much better experience over there. I promise. Moving on, Nintendo confirmed Switch 2 will include much requested accessibility feature. The system will also support live captioning for game chat, which is cool. So basically, when you're in a party with your friends, if you have a hearing disability, that it'll give you captions. Nintendo Switch 2 will support text-to-speech. This feature, which has also been shown off in a new gameplay clip of the Nintendo Switch's 2 game chat feature, shows players typing messages into the system, which are then read by the system itself. While currently unconfirmed, the original Nintendo Switch system supported USB keyboards, so it's likely Nintendo Switch 2 will also support the accessory. So, excuse me. Basically, you get text-to-speech and you get speech-to-text in the new Nintendo Switch. Which is pretty cool for people who have hearing or visibility disabilities. Final Fantasy XI was going to shut down last year, but fans have kept it alive, director says. I don't care. Pokemon Black Bolt and White Flare will reportedly face shortages as Pokemon catches up with older sets. These are cards or video games. I don't remember hearing anything about Black Bolt and White Flare. Next story. Tickets now on sale for Bit Summit 2025, Japan's leading indie game expo. There you go. If you want to go to Bit Summit 2025, tickets are now live. Injustice 3 could be in development, according to Multiverse's data miner. Wait a minute. How are we getting into a... All right, the development of a third game in the Injustice series is being teased by Multiverse's data miner. Well, first of all, let's just stop here and say that it's not like we didn't think Injustice 3 was going to happen. For as successful as it's been, NetherRealm has literally been Mortal Kombat, Injustice, Mortal Kombat, Injustice for the last 10 years, I want to say. And then they did 2 Mortal Kombats in a row. So it stands to reason that an Injustice had to have been coming soon. Well, I mean, despite what WB's been doing with all the layoffs and switches up. But let's go ahead and take a look. An account that had a history of posting information about Multiverse's content before it was officially revealed has teased that a new game in the Injustice franchise is in development. Multiverse's shutting down is an injustice. Then doing it all again is another injustice. Leaving me without any leaks is yet again another injustice, they continued. Multiverse Susie then followed up with the reply reading 3. Okay, so she said Injustice 3 times and then she said 3. That's pretty cool. Both Multiverses and Injustice are games publisher. I think it's supposed to say published by Warner Brothers Games, which may explain how Multiverse Susie has seemingly been able to acquire data on the latter. The first 2 Injustice games, this is just editorializing, but basically a data miner found some kind of info on Injustice 3. Cool. I'm excited to see it. The Injustice games are really good. 37 minutes to Switch 2 Cyberpunk 2027 footage has been posted online. That's obviously something you got to go see. Hideo Kojima reveals his next espionage game, Fizzent, is 5 to 6 years away. So that basically does nothing for us except make us give us a little bit of FOMO. Next story, Yakuza 0 comparison video shows Switch 2 and PS4 versions side by side. Again, something you got to see. Nintendo will be attending Gamescom 2025. Good to know. Nintendo's latest Switch 2 video shows a close-up look at game cards and the carry case. See if we have any images on that we can at least look at. I'm not going to play the video for you guys. But if you want to see it, go ahead and take a look at VGC for that. SAG-AFTRA challenges Epic Games over Darth Vader AI in Fortnite. Basically what happened was that voice actors have been on strike for a long time because of the use of AI in video games and other type of entertainment. SAG-AFTRA is suing Epic Games, the people who create Fortnite, because Fortnite is using James Earl Jones's, the person who plays Darth Vader's voice. They're using his voice in Fortnite. So SAG-AFTRA, which is basically the actors union, is suing Fortnite over that. And lastly, Neil Druckmann is working on a second unannounced game at Naughty Dog. Last story, we'll go ahead and read it out loud. Neil Druckmann is working on a second unannounced game at Naughty Dog. Oh, shit. The Last of Us director, Neil Druckmann, has revealed he's involved in a second unannounced project at Naughty Dog, alongside his sci-fi game Intergalactic. Naughty Dog has historically struggled to work on multiple large games simultaneously, and following the cancellation of its Last of Us Online game 17 months ago, it was unclear whether it would be destined to continue focusing on a single main project, even though it insisted at the time it was planning multiple games. Now, speaking to the Press X to continue podcast, Neil Druckmann has reiterated that Naughty Dog is still working on at least 2 projects and confirmed that he is producing an unannounced game alongside Intergalactic. Quote, "We have several directors on Intergalactic," he said. "I work with 2 game directors, Matthew Gallant and Kurt M. And I have a co-writer in Claire Carey. So there are times when I'm away and they are in charge, and I get to come back and be surprised and enjoy certain choices that they made. And other ones I pull my hair out over, and we have to change course or argue about it." And then there's another game that's being worked on at Naughty Dog where I'm in more of a producer role, and I get to mentor, watch this other team, and give feedback to the executive in the room. I enjoy all these roles, and the fact that I jump from one to the next makes my job very exciting and always feels fresh always feeling fresh. I'm never bored. Druckmann's comments suggest that at least 2 prominent game directors, there's a lot of names in here, Sean Escaig, from Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, and Anthony. Cool, man. There's another game. There's 2 games currently being developed at Naughty Dog. Does this give us some kind of insight on something insane happening? No. Honestly, with the way video games are coming out lately, literally taking anywhere between 5 to 7 years a piece, it stands within reason that studios would start to change in a way that allows them to develop multiple games at the same time. 5 to 10 to almost 15 years if you take into account how long it's going to take before we see the next Elder Scrolls. You got to be able to make multiple projects. So, I mean, it just stands to reason that a studio would go and make multiple games at the same time. But that was the last story, and that covers everything that happened this week in gaming. I appreciate you guys coming along this journey with me and taking this step into moving into a live format for This Week in Gaming. It is my first episode doing this live. Apparently, I need to work my mouth out a little bit more. Pause. Because talking for an hour and 45 minutes straight is an insane task. So,